All right. So I'm going to be honest. I bought this book because Kelly Sue DeConnick is writing it. So it seemed to me like a slam dunk. Like, all right, like this is going to be terrible. Because she did an interview and she's talking about how, you know, oh, I have to set aside his privilege. Like, oh boy, here we go. But I will say it wasn't bad. So if you don't want to know what happens, you know, as usual, I give this a 3 out of 5. It's good. Surprisingly good. So I don't know what's going on with Aquaman. I got to be honest. I'm not really a big fan of Aquaman. So the comic, I was watching the Comic Hut review. I think he was reviewing Black Panther or something. And he was talking about how Black Panther is hard to relate to because he's a king, you know. And I thought that was a really good point. And I kind of feel the same way about Aquaman here. It's hard to relate to a king, right? I've always been a street-level character guy, except for Superman and a couple X-Men. But I mostly like the down-on-your-luck hero. Kelly Sue DeConnick is a strange, interesting figure. She did this really smug interview with Sci-Fi Channel where she was like trashing comic fans almost. And she gave birth to the famous line, "If you don't like my politics, don't buy my books." However, I will say, I don't ever really hear about her crapping on fans on Twitter. I haven't looked at her Twitter in a long time. As far as I remember, she's like one of the few people that doesn't block anybody. Though that might have changed. I haven't looked. She might have blocked me now. You never know with these people. And she seems to just mind her own business and do her work, which I think is fine. And I saw she put a tweet out where she was like regretting that Sci-Fi interview and saying it was a huge mistake. And I gotta say, I agree. That was a huge mistake, that interview. But, you know, I'm willing to, like wipe the slate clean or whatever. I did buy this book to trash, and I ended up liking it. I was quite surprised. However, I already know there's going to be some comments that are going to mention it. So, he has amnesia. And I'm guessing this came from his time on the, whatever that Drowned Earth story was that just happened. I didn't read it. I don't like Scott Snyder's work. His old Court of the Owl stuff was really good, but I'm not digging his Justice League at all. It's real wordy, boring. I don't care for it. This, however, was surprisingly very well told. Like, you get this really nice narrative that told, like, just kind of runs. It's very nice, and it sometimes almost kind of reads very poetic. And the art is fantastic. Like, look at the detail here, right? Look at the detail in her cloak. Some pretty cool stuff. Aquaman's like a simple dude. He doesn't know what's going on. All right, I'm just addressing it. Nightwing also has amnesia. Okay, I know how many characters are going to lose their memory in the DC universe, but it does send them on a hero's journey, which I like. And I like that, you know, he's here, he's living with this family, and I think that's pretty interesting. So he comes in, he was outside fixing their windows. You see him looking all rugged. He's got a hammer in his hand, just looking like a regular dude. And it just slowly starts to tell you this story about the island that they live on and this girl. There's a narrative between him and this girl, and it turns out she's kind of special, right? And they, the island that they're on did like a deal with this demon woman, and this is her daughter, right? And it's an important story to get to in a second, but they kind of have a nice little relationship. It turns out this woman found him, and you see him here like left for dead on the beach, and they have no idea who he is. They called him Arthur or Andy. She calls him Arthoso, but everyone else calls him Andy because he has an A on his belt and just kind of works. But the art is amazing in this. Very, very well done. Very impressed. And one thing, too, that's very good is the use of dialogue and narrative. Like, every page lets the pictures and the words work so well. And it's not full of bubbles. Every word bubble is effective and gets the point across. I was very surprised. It's not lazy writing. It's actually pretty good the way she has used the narrative here. But the big shocking relief here is they reveal that they sent off this demon lady or whatever she is, and she cursed the island. They have her daughter. That's the girl that was hanging out with Arthur. And they tell him, you know, we want you to go make peace with this woman and take the daughter back. Take her to her, and we'll give you the unspoken water, which will give you your memories back. He looks down into it, and he sees Mira, and he freaks out, and he runs outside and stuff. And that girl ends up getting in trouble, and he goes out there, and we see him learning that, you know, he kind of controls the ocean. And then it says to the next one. To be honest, I'll probably check the next one out, and I'll go in with an open mind. I did enjoy this story. I was shocked. I went in to dunk on it, and I came out liking it. And it does happen. It does happen. I did enjoy it, and I'll read it. I'll read the next one. It says it's 5 parts. I'll give it a chance. See where it goes. I know some people are going to be turned off by the amnesic Aquaman. I don't know what to tell you. Anyway, check out my Stream Me. Check out my Patreon. Let me know what you think about this. And the comments, like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Throw a like up if you would. Let's try to get 4 or 5 of those. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.